Greetings. Thanks so much for joining me. Of course, it's Christian of Standing Stones Healing, and I am honored and excited to join you on this beautiful, blessed day to talk all about navigating life's changes. I'm super excited to be here with you, and so I want to say thank you so very much for tuning in and joining. It is an honor to have you. So in this workshop, we are going to talk about a few things. We're going to talk about life changes. We're going to talk about what the heck I even mean when I talk about life change. We're going to talk about some different types of changes. I'm going to talk about some of my own life change experiences and talk with you about some times when I've had some life changes. We're going to talk about the number one thing to do during a life change, during any life change, and we are going to talk about the number one thing that typically holds most of us back from making change. So we've got a lot to talk about today. I'm super excited to talk about all of those things. I'm also going to share with you a little bit about the growth program. I'm very excited about this program. I've been running it for a few years now, and the growth program is a program that takes inspiration from the season to help us create change in our own lives. So the growth program harnesses the power of the earth, the power of the season to help us create change and transformation in our own lives. So thank you so much for joining me and for being here. Please feel free, drop it in the comments. Let us know where you are tuning in from. Let us know where you are in the world. And please do tell us one thing that you are grateful for. Now, for me personally, I am here in central Pennsylvania. It is a beautiful sunny day. Thank God it's finally sunny. We've had days and days of rain. And so with these days and days of rain, it's been dreary, it's been cold, and personally, I don't mind the rain, but I have to say that the past few days, I've really been looking forward to the sunshine. So now we have it, and I am excited for it. So I'm grateful for the sun. I'm grateful for no rain. Grateful for no rain, grateful for things drying up. So thanks so much. So please do drop it in the comments for me. Let me know that you can hear me. Let me know that you can see me, because I can see that I have people watching, but you're not showing up on my live number of watchers. So shout out to me and let me know that you can hear and see me. Thank you, Olivia. I appreciate that. So glad to know that you can say hello and I can see your comments as well. Phew. You know, sometimes Facebook Live gives some glitches and challenges, so you never know, right? And so always before I go live, I'm like, oh, please let this work. And I go live a lot, so I'm always relieved when it seems to work. So wonderful, Dan. Thank you for joining. So glad to have you here. And grateful for each moment. Amen. And for everyone that you are blessed to connect with. I will second that for sure, Dan. Thank you for being here and for connecting. And so when it comes to changes, today we're going to talk about life change. We're going to talk about transition. We're going to talk about how to navigate change, including any kind of change. We're going to talk about the number one thing that you need to do during any change. And we're going to talk about making changes too, including the number one thing that often holds us back from making change in our own lives. So of course the replay will be here on Facebook and it will be on YouTube as well for tuning into later. So If you can't join live or if you need to leave early, no problem whatsoever. So I have a question for you. Have you experienced change? So have you experienced some kind of change in your life? Drop it in the comments for us. Let us know if you have experienced some kind of change. Now, my guess is that probably you have. Let me explain what I mean by change. When we think of life change, we often think of the big changes, the big things, things like death. Well, of course, our death, that's a big change, right? But things like the death of a loved one, a birth, a marriage, a relocation. These are the kinds of changes that we often think of when we think of life change, a big change. But changes, too, are small and can be something as simple as a change in our schedule. You know, maybe we were getting up and going to work at one particular time, and then our kids changed their school, and now we have to get up a little bit earlier. We might not think about it, but that's a change too. And any kind of life change can have a big impact on our lives. And so something as simple as a slight change in our schedule can make an impact on our lives that we might not realize and that might indeed surprise us. So yes, absolutely, change is a constant, some big change, some small change. The only constant in the universe is change for sure in our own lives too. So I want to talk to you about a time in my life when I had a big change. This was a time when I experienced change on that big scale that we might often think about when we think about major life change. And it was back in 2008. And at this time, I had been in an awful job. It was a terrible, toxic job. Drop it in the comments for me and let me know if you have ever had a job like this. You were sick to go to work, like physically you felt ill. You didn't want to go. You didn't like your boss. Maybe even your boss was a jerk. Maybe you didn't like your coworkers. Maybe the work environment was crazy. Maybe it was not a good place and you didn't feel good about being there. This is the kind of place where I was in 2008. It was not a good work environment. It was not a healthy place. It was toxic. At the same time, I had been in an abusive relationship for a couple of years. Now, at the time, I did not realize it was abusive. It was only after the relationship was over and I was in therapy for the relationship, and my therapist said, you were in a domestic violence situation. And I was like, what? I had no idea. But yes, I was in an abusive relationship. And at the same time, my best friendship of 10 years was decaying. It was falling away. We were having challenges in our relationship, and that relationship no longer felt good. Well, all at once, and I mean all at once, like the Big Bang happened all at once kind of a thing. I got fired from that terrible toxic job, thank God. I finally broke free from the abusive relationship, and my best friendship crumbled. And that all happened within 1 month. All within 1 month. And so my life just completely exploded. Now, at that time, I had a whole range of feelings. Drop it in the comments for me and let me know if you have ever experienced a major life change like that, where, you know, everything just seemed to just like crumble, explode all at once. And you're kind of left feeling like, WTF just happened. So at that time, I was totally like, WTF just happened. Everything had blown up. I was feeling all kinds of feelings. I was anxious. I was sad. I was depressed. I was upset. I was excited. I was happy. I was relieved. All of those experiences. So I had a whole wide range of feelings during that life change. It was like a roller coaster of emotions. Drop it in the comments for me and let me know if you can relate. So I see some comments in the some comments below saying that yes, you understand it's happened to you a couple of times. Absolutely funny how it works like that, and freakishly similar. Yes, indeed. Glad to know I'm not alone. Thank you for that. But drop it in the comments for me and let me know if you have also experienced a wide range of emotions during your life changes, where you felt like there were just so many ups and downs. You were back and forth. Your emotions were up and down. It was like a roller coaster. One minute, you are angry and upset. The next minute, you're crying because you're happy. And the emotions are just really all over the place. Have you had that kind of experience? That's how I felt during that massive life change back in 2009, it was. It was not easy. And so I really want to encourage us with the number one thing to do during these kinds of life changes. Yes, a roller coaster ride. Yes, Leslie, emotional, definitely relatable. Thank you so much. Yes, Dan, you numbed yourself. You had to dig pretty deep. Absolutely. Digging deep for sure. During these kinds of massive changes where we're just left feeling like, what the heck just happened? Our emotions are all over the place. It's so easy for us during those times to be upset with ourselves and to beat ourselves up and to say, what's wrong with me? Why am I feeling this range of emotions? One minute I'm happy, the next minute I'm crying. One minute I'm just angry for no reason. What is that all about? That's all about the up and down roller coaster kinds of emotions that we can and do experience during life changes. And so the number one thing that I want to encourage you to do during any life change, please, please, please be gentle with yourself. When your emotions are all over the place, when you're feeling the ups and the downs, when you're feeling the WTF just happened kinds of feelings, when you're just like, why am I feeling this way all of a sudden out of the blue? What's going on? It's because you've just experienced a life change. And these ups and downs with our emotions don't just happen with major life changes like the kind of life change I experienced at that time. The up and down emotions can happen with any kind of life change, even something as simple as that change in our schedule that I mentioned. So I want to encourage you to please be gentle with yourself. Drop it down in the comments for me and let me know. Please promise me that you will be gentle with yourself. Please put it in the comments. I will be gentle with myself. I really want to encourage us to do that, because it's so easy during these times to beat ourselves up, to judge ourselves, to feel like there's something wrong with us, to feel like we're doing something wrong. We are not. The roller coaster is simply about the life change experience. Now, this is especially true when we have a massive life change like I did back in 2009. I like to call these kinds of changes butterfly changes. I like to call them butterfly changes. Drop it in the comments for me, by the way. Thanks for promising that you're going to be gentle on yourself. Drop it in the comments for me and let me know if you have ever experienced a butterfly change. Now, I call this butterfly change because it's like cataclysmic. You know, with a butterfly, it is like 1 minute it's a caterpillar, and then the next minute it's like wham bam, holy cow, what the heck, I'm a butterfly. Now, I know it doesn't really happen exactly like that. You know, of course, I know that the caterpillar spins its cocoon and goes into its little cocoon and does its like metamorphosizing thing. I know that's how it works, but I'll tell you what, going from a caterpillar to a butterfly, that's pretty darn drastic, isn't it? Like to move from being a caterpillar to a butterfly, that's a complete WTF kind of experience. A caterpillar is completely different from a butterfly. Can you imagine changing shape and changing form that drastically? But indeed, it does happen in our lives where we can and do have these butterfly experiences, kind of like the experience that I had in my life when everything just kind of crashed down around me. Of course, I want to say that it was the best thing that could have happened. Few, so glad to be gone from that toxic work environment. Few, so glad to be out of that abusive relationship. Few, so glad to release that friendship that was no longer serving me. And so when we have these major, massive life changes that can just seem like crazy, I like to call those butterfly changes, where it's like, whoa, 1 minute we are a caterpillar and the next minute we are a butterfly. Now, I don't know what the caterpillar is thinking as it changes into a butterfly, and I don't know what the butterfly thinks about its existence once it's changed from being a caterpillar. It may very well also be thinking, WTF? Like, not that long ago, I was crawling on the ground and eating leaves, and now I'm flying, I have wings, and I'm sucking down flower nectar. What the heck? How did that even happen? That is pretty drastic for sure. And quite frankly, I think it's inspirational because it can show us the real possibilities for our own lives as well. And indeed, what can happen when things fall into place, right, Leslie? Absolutely, yes. So that was a butterfly change for me, a big, massive life change experience. Now, that's the butterfly change. Yes, Leslie, you've had the butterfly experience the past couple of years, the so-called friendships lost. Best thing to happen because you are better for it. Absolutely. Sometimes things fall away from us when we're ready, but we don't realize that it's something that is right for us. And we don't realize until it has happened that, oh yeah, I'm actually glad that that happened because that relationship wasn't the right fit for me after all. Absolutely, for sure, Leslie. So I'd like to tell you about another time that I had a change in my life. Another change in my life where it maybe wasn't quite so drastic as that butterfly change, but maybe you've had a change like this too. It was back in early 2012. And at that time, I had just had a major life change. I had a relocation. And it wasn't a relocation that I wanted. It was a forced relocation. I had been living in a home I dearly loved. Okay, I was the caretaker of an old lady social club. It was a mansion built in 1800, big, beautiful mansion. I was the caretaker of the mansion, of the old ladies social club. And I lived in the basement. It wasn't as bad as it sounds. It was actually a first floor and not, it was a ground floor and not a basement. It was totally cool, Dan. Awesome old house. And the old lady sold the house, and I had 1 month to get out. The new owners wanted to raise my rent to a point where I couldn't afford it. I was teaching part-time. And so I had 1 month to get out. And so I had to find another home. Well, of course, my parents were like, you can always come live with us. And I was like, well, I don't have to. I have enough money saved. I'm okay to pay rent for a little while I figure out what to do next. But, it was an easy thing to do. And they were missing me. I was living in another state. So I was like, okay. Oh, man. So that was a massive, major life change for me. And after that massive, major life change, I was looking for some ways to cope and to deal with my massive life change. One of those ways that I coped ended up being with card reading, by the way. But another way that I ended up coping was through books. I was at the library and I found on audiobook The Secret. You know the book The Secret? Drop it in the comments for me if you know the book The Secret. You know the one by Rhonda Byrne, all about manifestation. Now, I will say that there are some things about The Secret I'm not a big fan of, but I will say that The Secret really put me on a great path that I wasn't on previously in terms of one of the things that I really took from The Secret was I listened to it on audiobook and I listened to it while I was getting ready in the morning for work. And one of the things that Rhonda talked about was getting rid of the news because of the impact that the news has upon our mind and our body and our spirit. Now, at that time, I was a news junkie. I was listening to the news every morning as I was getting ready for work and learning all kinds of things about what was going on in the world and having lots of heated opinions about them. Every morning I was doing this. And so as I was listening instead of the news to the audiobook, I started to think about the impact that the news was maybe having on me. And so after I finished The Secret, I didn't go back to listening to the news in the morning. I went to the library and I got another audiobook and I listened to that. And then I listened to another audiobook in the car as I was driving to work, and another book and another book. And then I read another book while I was eating lunch during my lunch break at work. And when I say another book, I mean these books were books like The Secret. They were self-help, personal development, professional development, spiritual kinds of books. And so rather than listening to the news, I was listening to these kinds of books every day, reading these kinds of books every day. And I was no longer subjecting myself to the news. And so with that, I was reading book upon book upon book that was helping me to be a better person, to be more mindful, to be more spiritual, to focus in on my personal development. And wow, what a big impact that had upon my psyche, upon my well-being, and upon my life. Now, one book is not going to change your life. Usually not. I mean, there might be a book that might change your life. By the way, if you've got any book recommendations, drop them in the comments. Let us know what you think. Do you have any books to recommend? Olivia, I can see that you're not so sure about The Secret either. You've got maybe some issues with the book too, but yes, it does have its positive attributes, like the fact that it got me off of the news. Now, one book usually won't change your life, but 1,200 books will. And so that was back in 2012. It's been more than 10 years now. At this point, I've read more than 1,200. Probably at this point, honestly, I lost count. I stopped counting at 1,000. And so at this point, I've read maybe 1,400 self-help, personal development, spiritual development books. And one book might not change your life, but 1,400 will. And so thank you, The Secret. Thanks to The Secret, instead of listening to the news for the past 12 years, I've been reading books, listening to books, learning and growing, and I don't listen to the news anymore. You know, I tell my family, if something really big happens in the world, send me a text and let me know. Great, Leslie. Thanks for the book recommendation. Wonderful. Always great to have the recommendations for the books. That sounds great. Brain Energy sounds fascinating. I'll have to check that out. Yes, Olivia, I do read minds. What can I say? So this kind of a life change. Now, let's admit that that is a big life change, right? Where I went from listening to the news every day, I went from being impacted by the news, getting angry in the morning about things that were happening in the world, to helping myself to grow and to expand and to have a new outlook and mindset in my life. That's a major life change, but it's not a butterfly change. I like to call these kinds of life changes that happen over time a glacier change. A glacier change. Now, have you ever had a glacier change in your life? Drop it in the comments for us and let us know if you have ever experienced a glacier change. You know glaciers, they're big, they're slow to move. I mean, it can take thousands of years for a glacier to move. But that change is no less drastic, no less impactful than a butterfly kind of change. That it's like one moment there and one moment there. So a glacier change is no less than a butterfly change. It's just that the change happens over a longer period of time. But when we look back, we can see that massive change did take place. And so if you've ever experienced a glacier change, drop it in the comments for us. You know, one other glacier change that I have had in my life is Reiki. Reiki has been a glacier change in my life. For many people, Reiki is a butterfly change where they will find Reiki and they'll experience Reiki and it will be like, kapow, wow, what a major life shift. That's incredible. But Reiki wasn't like that for me. Reiki was actually I undertook Reiki as for my own spiritual and personal development. You remember, I was into all of the books and the reading for a couple of years at that point. And so Reiki was just another way for me to improve myself personally and spiritually. And so my goal with Reiki came to me as a personal development practice. And my goal was simply for my own personal and spiritual growth with Reiki. And so Reiki didn't have that big cataclysmic change for me that many people experience, but Reiki has definitely had a big cataclysmic change on my life, just in a glacier kind of way. My life before Reiki is very different from my life now with Reiki, and Reiki has been a glacier in my life as well. So wonderful. So one of the things about a glacier change is that I think that they're so inspirational for our own life changes, so that when we look at our lives and we feel like things aren't moving, we feel like we are kind of stuck, I think that looking to the glacier is very inspirational. So I have a question for you. Who feels stuck? Drop it in the comments for us and let us know if you feel stuck in your life right now. Maybe stuck in general in your life, or stuck in some aspect or area of your life. Drop it in the comments for us and let us know if there's some area of your life where you feel stuck. Maybe you feel like you're hitting a brick wall. Maybe you feel like you're stuck. Your wheels are just spinning in mud and you can't move forward. Maybe you feel like you keep repeating the same things again and again and again, and you keep going around in circles. Whatever it might be, if you feel stuck, drop it in the comments for us. Let us know that those of us who feel stuck are not alone, and that indeed there are others who feel stuck and are having a stuck kind of experience too, whatever that might be. Now, if you are feeling stuck, I have some encouragement for you. When we feel stuck, I think it's really helpful for us to think about the glacier and how we can look at a glacier and it seems like nothing is moving. We can look at a glacier and it can seem like nothing is happening. Remember, a glacier can take a really long time to melt and move and shift, right? And so, Vonnie, you are not alone. Thank you for sharing. Leslie, you are not alone. Thank you for sharing. We can feel like we're not moving forward and we're not getting anywhere. But the glacier has encouragement for us because we can look at the glacier and it doesn't look like the glacier is moving in the instant, but when we look back on the glacier and remember where it was before, we can see how it has moved. I've got more inspiration for you if you're feeling stuck. If you think about an avalanche. You know, an avalanche where like rocks come crashing down on a mountain. Now, thankfully, I've never experienced an avalanche in person, but an avalanche where rocks are just cascading down the side of a mountain. In order for the avalanche to start, there is one stone that has to shift. There is one stone that has to move just a little bit before all of the other rocks can come tumbling down. If we were to look up at the mountain, we would not be able to see that one small stone shift. If we were to look at the mountain, we would not be able to see that an avalanche is on the way because we wouldn't see that one small stone move just a little bit. But indeed, it's that one small stone that moves just a little bit that makes way for all of the other stones to shift and move and tumble. And change in our lives can be like that too. You might feel stuck right now. But my guess is that there is some small stone shifting in your life right now. Some stone on the side of that mountain that is moving just a little bit. That if you looked at the mountain, you could not tell that it was shifting. You could not tell that anything was different. It doesn't look like anything is changing. But indeed, things are happening on very small incremental levels. And so if you feel stuck right now, I want to encourage you to take inspiration from the avalanche and the one small stone that needs to shift in order for the rest of the stones to come tumbling down. And I want to encourage you, when you feel stuck, to look for the small stone and the shift of that one small stone. And to even ask yourself, can I shift one small stone to help start the avalanche? Pretty powerful, right? Drop it in the comments for me and let me know if you are ready for an avalanche. If you are ready for some change, if you are ready to get unstuck, if you are ready to move forward, drop it in the comments and let us know that you are ready for an avalanche. Now, if you feel stuck, I want to give you some more encouragement, okay? I like to garden. Does anyone else like to garden? Drop it in the comments for me and let me know if you like to garden too. I love to garden. And I was planting some seeds not too long ago. What did I plant? I planted peas. And when I plant seeds in my garden, and I cover them over with dirt. If I go and look at the dirt, it looks like nothing is happening. I look at the ground and there's nothing going on. And I can look at the ground and saying, my seeds aren't growing. There's no change happening. The seeds are stuck. But what's happening is that change is taking place under the surface. Change is taking place on an unseen level. When I look at the ground, I can't see the change that is taking place because it's happening under the surface. Under the surface, the seed is getting ready to burst out. The seed is getting ready to push forward. The seed is getting ready to sprout. The seed is down in the ground and it is shaking and it is ready. I think that the seed, before it sprouts, the seed must feel stuck. So, the little plant inside of the seed, it must feel stuck. It must feel like I can't handle this small container. Get me out. In order for it to bust out and move forward. If the seed didn't feel uncomfortable, it wouldn't bust out of its shell. If that little sprout inside of the seed wasn't ready to expand, it wouldn't feel stuck. And so when you feel stuck, feeling stuck is a sign. It's a signal that you have grown too big for your seed, for the container, and you are ready to expand. And so if you feel stuck, when you feel stuck, we all feel stuck at certain points on our journey. If you don't feel stuck right now, you will at some point. And when you do, I want to encourage you to know that feeling stuck is a sign. It's a signal. It's information that you are ready to grow and expand, and that indeed you have grown too big for your shell, and you're ready to bust out and sprout into newness. But I think that seed must feel uncomfortable, and it's pushing, it's moving, and it's going to break through the surface. It's just that from where I look at it, when I look at the ground, I can't see anything happening because it's all happening under the surface. When you feel stuck, there's a very good chance that things are happening in your life under the surface. So just like with that small shift of that one stone to start the avalanche, your seed is sprouting. You just can't see it breaking through the soil yet. The question is, how can you help it grow? How can you water it? How can you give it sunlight? What sun, what water does it need in order to sprout and grow and break through the surface? And so when you feel stuck, just like I want to encourage you to be looking for the shift of the stone, I want to encourage you to be looking for the shoots, the sprouts to break through the soil. Because surely they will. Surely that stone will shift. Surely that sprout is going to break through the soil. Absolutely. Because change is on the way for you when you feel stuck. It's inevitable because it's a sign that you have grown and that newness, you are ready for newness for sure, just like the seed is ready for newness. And indeed, newness is on the way. It's just a matter of asking ourselves, how can we help shift that stone? How can we help the avalanche happen? How can we water the seeds to make them sprout and to get things moving along? How can we nurture those seeds to help them grow? And even what proof of sprouting can we see in our lives? Because probably if you're feeling stuck, there's proof around you that things are indeed moving for things to get going. Yes, absolutely. Do you have to change your name to Shifting Stones? Oh, instead of Standing Stones? Yeah, I could change my name to my business name to Shifting Stones Healing. And then people might be like, Shifting Stones? What the shift? Awesome. So, question for you. Drop it in the comments for us and let us know. Are you ready to make changes? Do you want to make change in your life? Are you ready for change? Are you ready to make change? You know, there's change going on all around us. I've got my daffodils blooming. My hyacinths are blooming. My vinca is blooming. I'm excited. My peas indeed are starting to break through the soil. So there is proof that they were growing underground all along. And so I don't know about you, but the earth is definitely experiencing some change right now here where I am. And I don't know about you, but I'm ready for some change too. So absolutely making changes is powerful for us, and we are probably, maybe, especially if you're feeling stuck, you are ready to make changes. And so I want to share with you the number one thing that holds us back from making change, the number one thing that holds us back from making change in our lives, the number one thing that often holds us back from making change in our own lives. You know, it's not easy to make change in our lives, right? We can have an idea of how we want to change. We can have an idea of what we want to see happen in our lives. We can have an idea of how we want to move forward. But yet we can feel stuck, and we can feel held back. We can feel hesitant. We can feel unsure. We can even have challenges following our dreams. We can have challenges following our dreams. Drop it in the comments for me and let me know if you have ever been challenged or felt challenged to do something like follow your dreams. If so, you are not alone, because this number one thing that holds us back from making change in our lives is so very common, and there's a very, very good chance that it's holding you back from making the changes that you want in your life, and even from following your dreams. The number one thing that often holds us back from following our dreams, from making change, from the challenge that is an ongoing thing, is worrying about what other people think. Worrying about what other people think. Absolutely, we often worry about what other people think, and it holds us back from moving forward. Now, I want to say that there is nothing wrong with caring about what other people think. As a matter of fact, caring what other people think does some good things for our society. Caring what other people think does things like keeps us out of jail. It keeps us operating in a very civil kind of society. You know, sometimes I get worried when someone says to me, I don't care what anybody thinks. And I think, are you sure that you really don't care what other people think? Because either you're not being honest with yourself, or you're not being honest with others, or you're a sociopath because they don't care what people think. And so caring what other people think is not in and of itself a bad thing. But so often we care too much what other people think. And we worry too much about what other people think to the point of holding us back from moving forward. Maybe you want to start a business and you're afraid of what other people think. Maybe you're afraid of what people are going to think about Reiki or card reading or anything else that you might like to do. Any of your weird woo-woo spiritual kinds of things. Oh no, people are going to think I'm weird if I like crystals. Oh no, I'm worried what other people are going to think if they find out that I wear crystals in my bra. I don't wear crystals in my bra. I don't wear a bra, but I understand that for some crystal lovers, that's a thing that they do. And so, I don't know, maybe you do. But it's okay if you do. But you're worried. Oh no, what are people going to think? Oh no, what are people going to think about the fact that I use crystals and I meditate with them? What are people going to think about my weird things that I do, right? We worry about what other people think. And that holds us back, maybe from wearing the kinds of clothes that we might want to wear, or cutting our hair in a certain way, or even having a particular hair color, or fill in the blank on what it might be. I want to encourage you to ask yourself, not if you are worrying about what others think, but how you are worrying about what others think and how it is holding you back. Because probably there's a very good chance, because you're a human being, that there's somewhere in your life where you are feeling stuck, you are being held back, and you're not moving forward in the ways that you want to because you're afraid of what other people think. When it comes to worrying about what other people think, I like to take inspiration from the flowers. The flowers. I like to take inspiration from the flowers. I think that when a flower is getting ready to bloom, when it is breaking through the soil, when it is growing, when it is getting ready to expand and bloom and grow, I don't think the flower gives a damn what kind of flower it is. I don't think the flower is worried about what color it is. I don't think that my purple hyacinth, when it was blooming, was saying, oh no, I hope I match the other hyacinths in this garden. Oh no, I hope I'm not the only purple one. By the way, this one is not the only purple one, but it is the only one that has this kind of clustering to it. It's very interesting. Good on you, hyacinth. But I don't think that this pink hyacinth was like, I hope I'm not the only pink one. Oh no, what are people going to think about my bright pink color? By the way, love that bright pink color, hyacinth. Thank you. The hyacinth, the flowers, the daffodils are not caring what anyone else thinks about the way that they look, the color that they show up as. They're worried, their concern is growing, it's getting tall, it's drinking in the sun, it's getting the water, it is focused on its own growth, and it's focused on being a flower, and it's not giving a damn what anybody else thinks. And so I want to know, drop it in the comments for me and let me know, what color of flower do you want to be? What kind of flower do you want to be? How do you want to bloom? Do you want to be a daffodil? Do you want to be a hyacinth? Do you want to be a purple hyacinth? Do you want to be a pink hyacinth? Do you want to be a daffodil with orange in your center? Do you want to be an all yellow daffodil? Do you want to be a white rose? Do you want to be a red rose? Do you want to be a yellow rose? What kind of flower do you want to be? What color do you want to be? Drop it in the comments for us and let us know. Do you want to be a sunflower, a tall sunflower, a smaller sunflower? What kind of flower do you want to be? How do you want to grow? Because that's what really matters. That's what really matters, is the kind of flower that you want to be, how you want to grow, how you want to bloom, how you want to expand. and not worrying about what anyone else thinks about your color, about what kind of flower you are. Yes, Dan, a purple tulip. Purple tulips are gorgeous. Yes, Leslie, you want to be an all-color wildflower. That's an awesome flower. Yes, Vonnie, you want to be a yellow rose. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Now, I have a question for you. Are you ready to claim your power and be the kind of flower that you want to be? Are you ready to be the kind of flower that you want to be? Are you ready to say, screw it? I don't care if I match the other flowers in the garden. I don't care if I am pleasing to others. I don't care what anybody else thinks. I'm going to bloom. I'm going to grow. I'm going to blossom. I'm going to expand. And I'm going to be me and express myself. Amen to that. If you are ready to claim your power, if you are ready to be the kind of flower that you want to be, I want to invite you to join us right now for the growth program. Going on right now is my self-paced growth program. Now, this program used to be a live program. I've now turned it into a self-paced program for ease and for moving through it on your own time frame. But this self-paced program takes inspiration from the season, inspiration from all of the blooming that is happening around us, inspiration from the beautiful flowers that are blooming and growing, the earth that is changing right now, beautiful and magical and inspirational. The growth program takes inspiration from the earth's changes, from the spring season, to harness change, to create change in our own lives. And so in this self-paced program, you've got a workbook full of videos on all kinds of topics of transformation. In those videos, I talk to you about creating change. Not only do I talk more about the number one thing that holds us back, but I share with you the number 2 and the number 3 things that hold us back from creating change in our own lives. I share with you how to harness the power of habits. I share with you the 3 A's of change. If you master these 3 A's, you can master any kind of life change and create change anytime you want in your own life. Along with all of these pre-recorded training videos, there are lots of questions for reflection and digging deep into the soil of your own life. So it is a powerful, beautiful program. Does it talk about the 7-way path? Yes, it does. The growth program does indeed talk about the 7-way path. For those who have not heard of the 7-way path, it is my set of 7 profound transformative practices to help us navigate any kind of life change in our lives and indeed to create change too. Yes, the growth program does talk about the 7-way path. I love the 7-way path. The growth program also includes a meditative journey to travel to your seeds, to get messages for them, from them, for your own growth and healing. The 7-way path includes lifetime access to all of these techniques and tactics, all of the videos, the workbook, and everything. You get lifetime access to that. And in a special kind of way, we are also having a live session at the end of April. And so anyone who does the program, who wants to have a live Zoom session to chat about their growth month experience, how they want to grow, to encourage one another on our growth journey, indeed, we are having a live session at the end of April for anyone who joins Growth Month. Now, the growth program is set up as a 3-week program, but you can move through it at your own pace. So you can take longer than 3 months. You can do it in 3 weeks or shorter in 3 weeks. It's just set up as a 3-week program. But you can take as long as you want or go as quickly as you want. And I will also say that you don't just have to use it in spring. You can use the growth program at any time that you're feeling stuck, that you want to create change in your life, that you're ready to bring in new energy and to move forward with your life. So you can learn more about the growth program at standingstoneshealing.com/growth. I'll drop that down in the comments. It's only $77 to join that program, and you get lifetime access. I love this program. I do it myself every year. I'm carving out some time tomorrow to start on my own growth program journey for this season. So I'm super excited about that. Is the 7-Way Path a different program? Thank you, Leslie, for that question. It will be in the future. Here's the thing, everyone. The 7-Way Path I developed back in after that massive life change. So I developed the 7-Way Path back in 2010. I've written the book, The 7-Way Path. I wrote the book back in 2016. The book is written. I just need to make some revisions and I need to publish it, and I need to have the program on it too. Listen, I got so much going on in my Reiki business. Eventually, the 7-Way Path will be its own program. Just don't hold your breath, but it will happen. Just as eventually the 7-Way Path book will be published. So yes, indeed, all of those things will happen for sure. But what will happen is if you sign up for that growth program, it's automated, which means that you will immediately get the workbook. As soon as you sign up, you will be able to immediately start. You will have immediate lifetime access to all of the course materials. Now, here's what I've done with this program, everyone. It's a full course in a workbook. So you'll get the workbook, and embedded in the workbook are all of the videos, all of the questions for reflection, all of the activities are all in that workbook, and it's all right there. You'll also get the link to the Zoom live at the end of April 28th. Sunday, April 28th is when it is happening, so you'll get that link automatically. And so everything that you need, you get immediately as soon as you join the growth program. So I'm super excited about this program. Super excited to offer it. Lots and lots of people have had great results from the program when it was offered as a live program, and I'm super excited to offer it as a completely self-paced program starting this year. And indeed, I do believe that I'm going to keep it available to anyone at any time of the year to join. And so what that means is that after this season, the Growth Month program will increase in price, but it will be available at any time to enroll in at any time during the year. So it will be available not just in the spring, even though it takes inspiration from the spring. So drop it in the comments for me. Let me know if you have any questions. And let me know if you have any questions, not just about the growth program, but about change, about transformation, about anything, or any comments that you would like to share, any thoughts, any experiences, or anything like that. Now, I'm going to go back through and read all of your comments, and I will respond to them. And so I want to say thank you for being here. It's always an honor to connect with you, always an honor to have you here and to tune in with me. And so I want to say thank you so very much. And so I am just so happy to be here with you and to share these messages and this encouragement with you. So I want to say thank you all very, very much. It's a true honor, and it's a true honor to offer programs like the growth program to help you sprout, to help you grow, to help you get unstuck and move forward with your life, to help you ask the questions like, how are you living like it's winter? You know, spring is here. Spring is all around us. I've got leaves on my crab apples I can see outside. My crab apple trees, they have leaves. The cherry trees are blooming. Things are growing. But how are you still living like it's winter? Have you put your snow shovel away yet? And so it's time to put away the snow shovel. It's time to notice all of the growth and blooming all around us. And it's time to create change in our own lives. The growth program will absolutely help you to do that for sure. So thank you so very much, Dan. Honored to have you here. Thank you. Absolutely. Work with all of the other wildflowers. Beautiful. Thank you, Vonnie. Wonderful to have you here. Leslie, thank you so very much for your kind comments and support always. So I'm sending you so many blessings and best wishes. Of course, you are welcome to reach out to me anytime. I love hearing from you. So I'm sending so many blessings and best wishes to your journey and to being the flower that you want to be, no matter what color, what kind of flower you want to be. Sending lots of blessings and best wishes to the flower.